In my first video, I revealed that Tony Stark was never actually Tony Stark. He was Victor Von Doom all along, and I even backed it up with proof. But still, some people just couldn't believe it, so this video is especially for those people. And today, I'm going to prove not only that Tony Stark was adopted, but also that Tony knew this all along, that he was never the biological son of Howard Stark. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Joe, and you're watching The TJ Show. Let's dig into this theory without wasting any more time. Do you remember that one scene from Iron Man 2? Yeah, that one where Justin Hammer keeps calling Tony Stark Anthony.
We all know why we're here. In the last 6 months, Anthony Stark has created a sword with untold possibilities.
In fact, he calls him Anthony multiple times throughout the movie.
Anthony, is that you?
My least favorite person on earth, Justin.
How you doing?
But what's interesting is Tony never reacts to it. Not once. Now, this isn't some random Marvel mistake. Nope. Marvel has been dropping subtle hints like this from the very beginning. Some fans say that Justin Hammer was just jealous of Tony, and that's why he used his full name, Anthony, and to mock him, to remind him that he was adopted. Maybe that's partly true, but the real truth is much deeper than that. The name Tony was never his original name. And I'm not just making this up. This was officially shown in the comic book series when Tony finds out that Howard and Maria Stark weren't actually his biological parents. He sets off on a journey to find out who his real parents were. Eventually, he meets a woman, a singer, who turns out to be his biological mother. She reveals that she gave Tony up to the Starks so he could have a better upbringing.
Later, we see a scene with Howard Stark holding a baby. Maria asks, does he have a name? And Howard replies, Anthony. He also mentions that Tony's biological mother asked them to name him Tony Stark. So yeah, that's solid proof that Tony's real name was Anthony, not Tony. And you know what's crazy? This detail was hinted at way earlier in the MCU, all the way back in Iron Man 2. And as we all know, Marvel has always been sneaking in comic details into the movies, and this is no minor detail. Now, remember that scene from Avengers Endgame where Tony meets Howard Stark? Howard tells Tony that his wife, Tony's mom, is pregnant, and Tony looks kind of confused. Why? Because Tony knew he wasn't their biological son, so in his mind, he's thinking, if Howard's wife is pregnant now, then who was I before they adopted me? He realizes they had a child after adopting him, and he can't wrap his head around why they would adopt him in the first place if they were going to have their own biological kid. And then there's that scene in Iron Man 1. Remember when Tony tells Pepper to pull the wire out of his chest? Right after that, he tells the robotic arm to throw away all the stuff on the table, including a photo of him and his father.
Come here. What's all this stuff doing on top of my desk? That's my phone. That's a picture of me and my dad. Right there. Garbage. All that stuff.
Why would he do that? Because deep down, Tony hated Howard from the start. He always felt like his dad never really accepted or loved him, and maybe it's because he was adopted. That hatred, that disconnection, it was always there, and not just Tony, even Nick Fury knew that Tony was adopted. When Howard Stark adopted Tony, he was already working with S.H.I.E.L.D., which means Fury had access to that information as well, and guess what? That's shown in the comics too. So yeah, this is the real truth about the MCU's Iron Man. Alright guys, that's it for today's theory. If this video blew your mind or gave you a whole new perspective on Iron Man, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a twist like this. We go deep into the Marvel Universe, uncovering the secrets most fans overlook. Also, let me know in the comments, do you think Tony being adopted changes how we see his entire journey? Until next time, stay curious, stay bold. This is Joe signing off from The TJ Show.